To the live, guys. It is Wednesday, July 9th, which when I say that means I'm delaying as I'm fumbling around my computer, trying to find where to throw my videos. Here we go. All right, let's pay some bills, shall we, with the American Beverage Association.
Our nation is standing up for American workers, restoring the pride of making products here at home. That's what we do every day. We're America's beverage companies, making American products with American workers in America's hometowns, delivering brands that have been enjoyed for generations, creating good-paying jobs, the kind that require only a strong work ethic. Because we believe in the promise of America and the people who make it great.
Today's episode is brought to you by one of our sponsors, the American Beverage Association. A lot of people are talking American jobs these days, which is great. But our friends at America's Beverage Companies have been walking the walk this whole time, providing good-paying jobs, the kind that only require a strong work ethic, jobs that make it possible to raise a family, put down roots, and build a future. They always have been and always will be American companies making American products with American workers all across this great country. 275,000 American workers across all 50 states show up every day and put in an honest day's work to help America make America great at America's beverage companies. Learn more at wedeliverforamerica.org. It's wedeliverforamerica.org. I want to bring in my guest right now, David Cate. I know how to hit the buttons. There you go. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, Tim?
Pretty good. I got to tell you about my morning that I did not. I don't prep for interviews other than I told you a little bit about what we were going to work about. I got contacted by the New York Times this morning.
Oh,
yeah,
that's great. What did they want?
Well, you will never guess this, and I told a couple of friends this. It was actually kind of cool. They were told by someone in Washington D.C. that I was advising Elon Musk on the America Party.
Oh, is that so? Is that what's happening behind the scenes here, Tim?
I hadn't heard about it myself personally, but I told them, if they know him and he wants some advice on starting a third party, I'll do it. That's fine. I'll help you. If I can get his ear.
It's kind of interesting. I'm trying to figure out, why did they reach out to you saying you're consulting Elon Musk on this whole third party thing?
Somebody must have told them that I did it. And I asked, I was like, who said it? And they were like, we can't tell you. I'm like,
of course, anonymous. It's always the anonymous sources, right? That's where they get you.
The anonymous, but like, I mean, it's kind of a weird. I expected when they said, "Hey, we're running a story that might be about you." I was like, "Oh shit, what I say or what I do or
like, what would happen?" Yeah,
yeah.
It's never good when the New York Times hits you up. But
is
hey, I don't know what's better. Is it the Washington Post hitting you up or the New York Times?
Yeah, I mean, I've had them both, right? And I've had fact checks. Have you been fact checked a bunch by people? Do people call you up for?
No, not like they have like no media sources, but Instagram loves to do that. The Associated Press fact checked us about geoengineering, weather modification stuff. They kind of did a third party fact check on us as well, writing articles about us. The LA Times wrote an article about us indirectly, not really naming us. But I always like the fact checkers because it's kind of arbitrary, right? It's very Orwellian, actually.
I like who. Nobody wants to grow up to be a fact checker, right? Like who's like growing up like, and you're right, it's totally Orwellian. Like what are you like? I'm the arbiter of truth. I know better than everyone else. But I guess when you're in it, sort of like not to make a fucking Holocaust reference, but like when you're like you're just doing your job, right? You don't really think about it. You think you're helping out. You've been convinced that you're helping out society by fact checking people.
Yeah, I don't know. I think these people have an evil agenda at the end of the day, to be honest, especially when you look at some of the funding behind the fact checkers and their ability to manipulate the narrative. That's again, very Orwellian. And as long as there's some sort of, it's like with hate speech laws, who's going to determine what is actually considered hate speech? Who's going to determine here what is actually true or not to be true? And if there's some sort of mysterious funding behind all of these sources, then that's never good.
Well, it's always, I mean, it's always kind of connected to the DNC. Usually when the fact checkers always have like a link back to either a state government, a Democratic state government, or the big dogs at the DNC. Because I remember during COVID, the state of California had a list of people, and they had a list of like social media posts, like a whole like a spreadsheet that they were sending to each social media company to ban people.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat.
Exactly. And hey, because that was during COVID, people need to remember that this is happening under whatever administration, regardless if it's Republicans, Democrats. they're all pushing for this, and you have to be critical of it, regardless of what party you may support.
This is look. I don't. I think this week. I think people were reminded to not trust the government, regardless who's in charge. I don't know. I don't know if you could. I don't know if
I'm so,
anybody's.
I'm so confused with this whole situation, to be honest, because it's like,
It was on her
who do
desk.
you believe?
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on, David. It was on her desk. All right, and she just, the list was there, but when she answered that question, she meant everything was on her desk and not just that. And then also, why are we still talking about it? Right? What are we? That was the worst answer. We covered that last night for
That
about a
was
half
an
hour.
interesting, yeah, that's an interesting deflection. And if you really actually look at it, though, to me, that's kind of Trump laying it down as, as the leader of the MAGA movement, and obviously being the president.
Yeah.
He's kind of, telling the press, this is it. You're not going to ask me any more questions about this stuff. And he's also at the same time laying down the foot to his own base here, which is really interesting, right? There's just so much confusion here because it's like it's the whole stuff with what's coming from his administration in terms of Pam Bondi, what Cash Patel, Dan Bongino has been saying. Specifically, though, Pam Bondi, right? It's one thing that for you to say stuff as as somebody with no authority, no position yet, right? Maybe on podcasts and whatnot. I always say it's one thing for people to say it on a podcast. It's a completely different thing when they're in front of a judge saying it. You can
Uh-huh.
apply that. You can apply that for the same thing when they're in a different position here. But it's different when you have the attorney general already making statements, like you said, that the list is on the table and it's ready to be reviewed. And that's the interesting thing, is because I kind of like digged around for this. I wanted to see when people started to reference an Epstein client list. And necessarily, it was just kind of circulating around the social media environment. But this was kind of the first time we had an official actually affirm to us that there is a list. And now we've been really let down. I don't know. I want transparency when it comes down to this stuff.
Hey, by the way, I didn't realize that my roadcaster wasn't on, so I'm gonna have to redo my commercial later on. I just realized my voice must have just got a little bit deeper with my fake.
It sure did. It
No,
sure
so
did.
the whole thing bothers me, and a lot of people should be skeptical of literally everything that's going on with the government always, regardless what side you're on and who you're a fan of. And it's just there are semantics at play here, where like I think, and this is what we determined it to be. And by the way, we're talking with David Kate, who, dude, I can't wait to dig into all the stuff that you've done. But
I'm excited to share it.
it's when you say there's no list, right? Like maybe there isn't like a list that goes like A, B, C, D, but there's enough. There are clients, and you got them in that whole pile of evidence that you have. Who things were sent to, who people were sent to, who went to the island, who gave money for what. They definitely have a pile of names of big people. But when you say semantically, I don't have a list. You're like, well, that doesn't exist. There's no list. There's no client list. There's no little black book. They didn't say little black book either. They just said they didn't have a list. Also, I looked at the file, and he didn't. That was the line from Cash and Dan Bongino. I looked at the file, and he didn't kill himself. So you look at the file and goes, oh, didn't kill him. Didn't do it. All right, there you go. Done. That's what that file says. So that's what I'm going with. The end. I think there is I think it's a semantics game. And I think absolutely a list exists. I think absolutely killed himself. I think there's just like I just got demonetized from YouTube on that.
Of course.
But,
Well, that's when you're saying the right stuff. Now, here's the thing: is that like I would love to see the evidence that everything that you said is actually the case.
yeah.
And that's what I was hoping with this administration, is to get at least some sort of transparency, regardless of what the case may be. Whether these alternative narratives regarding Epstein are true or not true, I want to see the documents for myself.
Mhm.
And it's really hard to say that you're the most transparent administration. And I say this as somebody that still supports President Trump, has voted for him 3 times. If you're going to say that you're the most transparent administration, unseal those documents that you're saying that you're not going to release anymore, and stop with the whole page redactions. You're giving us like pages that are supposed to be white and black, but they're completely black
Yeah.
because they're fully redacted like that. Um, is there a possibility that people have been just saying stuff on podcasts and whatnot just because it's a nice narrative to drive? Sure. But just like you said, I mean, we do have evidence in terms of Maxwell being in jail and Epstein himself facing the charges before he killed himself or didn't kill himself, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Um, of trafficking. So the trafficking is to who? And that's the question,
No
right?
one. They trafficked to nobody. They were nobody. Yeah, they just, it was just magic. They were trying to traffic. It just didn't work. Right. That's what. Like, there's no excuse for this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The main thing that I've been trying to drive as like a just as a narrative towards for my audience is for them to understand that Epstein probably didn't have a physical list himself, but it doesn't mean that the government didn't compile a list based off testimonies from witnesses,
Yeah.
testimonies, or just evidence that they have based on videos that Pam Bondi apparently have seen hundreds of. Whatever that's the thing is that like if there's a trafficking case and if there are individuals names who are redacted because they're mentioned by victims, then I'm sorry, there is a list. It's just maybe not a physical list by Epstein.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's something there. I really do think it ultimately comes down to a semantics game. And I think a lot of people. So there's a comment here from Jim Bob. Trump's base is pissed off over this Epstein shit show. This is not going away. It can't be. It can't go away. I mean, one of the biggest things that everybody wanted from this was the Epstein list. So I don't know. Let's talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
As Donald Trump says, we've been talking about this for so long. We're still
You're
talking
still
about it.
talking about this, Tim. Come on now.
Oh, jeez. What? I can't believe. Why would we be interested in like the? Hey, by the way, before we go, were you on the list? Did you get a binder?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I'm not part of the cool club.
I'm not either. I'm not either. I thanked everyone the other day for not inviting me as part of the cool influencer club to the White House. We got to be cool influencers at the Heritage Foundation, but not at the White House. And that's fine.
That was way cool. We got to mastermind Project 2025, everything. So
I got it down here. I got a hard copy actually of it down here on the floor. But no, I mean, we got to meet. That was that weekend. So you were there for like 2 or 3 days, and I was there. So we met apparently, and didn't meet because I'm ignorant. And I don't walk across the room to talk to people.
That makes 2 of us at least, because for that to happen, I got to do the same exact thing.
Yeah,
so.
fuck us. But Tom Homan was there. That was like the highlight of the week. I mean, I got to meet a bunch of the
sick.
Dude, Tom Homan, when he talked to us, I was like, give me a gun. I'll go to the border. Let's go.
I mean, that's the thing is that when you hear the stories firsthand from him, somebody that has experience throughout various administrations, again, so it's apolitical, you realize how disgusting and actual the horrendous crimes that are committed by cartels or just in general, the people that abuse and capitalize on illegal immigration. It's crazy to hear it from him.
Yeah. It's and when he gets emotional talking about what he saw, like I'm like, brother, like this guy, because he's like the man. Like this guy has seen everything. And when he talks about like the hurt little kids and gets like emotional about it, you're like, this guy would cut off your fingers if he had a chance. He'd tear people limb from limb if he had a chance. These like people, and they deserve it. All right. So what I wanted to talk to you about is you're the only guy for some reason, because you're smart and everybody else is lazy. You're the one guy out there doing the research to expose. Let's see where's a good one here. Is this one? Yeah. To expose paid protesters. And I'm shocked. Are you shocked that you're the only person doing this? Because you're doing a damn good job of it. This is what got my attention with your work here. But like, why is nobody else doing this? Because it's too much work? Too hard?
Yes, it definitely takes some digging. The one thing I'll say is that shout out, there is one guy that is doing this. His name's Nate Friedman. So shout out to him. He's done a great job up in New York City exposing pretty much the same thing that I'm exposing here all the time. But I'll say this is that the majority of people that do this quote unquote men on the street content, they do either 2 things. They aim for gotcha moments. So they either go to the protest to own the protesters there, which is awesome. That's great footage. And then you also have the people that are just there to film the protests, which I've done numerous times. But it's kind of fun to be like investigating and trying to drag information out of these individuals that you want in order to compile a story for yourself to show our narratives are actually true. So not too many people, I think, take that angle. And then there's also, you can just post that, which I've done numerous times, but that's why I'm saying shout out to Nate Friedman. He actually gave me the idea of actually showing you guys the story, not just me like interacting with these individuals and putting a tweet above it, but making a 3-minute investigation into all the money behind it and how organized they are. And is it a local influence campaign in terms of like a domestic one, or is it a foreign one? Is it your taxpayer money being included in this? Is it some Islamic fundamentalism behind it? Because there's so many protesters now, whether it's the anti-ICE, anti-Israel stuff, right? I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
pick your stuff, you'll find crazy influence behind it. So yeah, it's hard, but it's also just the angle. It's a different angle that I take from when it comes down to covering these protests.
Yeah, no, look, I want to cover it because it's absolutely incredible here, your work. So let's do this is I hope this isn't too awkward. I want to play one of your videos while we sit here and watch it.
I'll
So
love it. Let's do it.
here we go. So this one again, and you have a couple of these. We'll go through them all, but this is fantastic. Here we go.
Why is this individual attempting to block and prevent me from filming a march in Atlanta, Georgia? For every new 100 followers, I'll expose a new organization. Because he's a professional protester.
You're doxing people.
Why am I doxing people?
I've heard from other people that you're doxing people.
Like what?
Like taking pictures of people's faces and posting them online.
I'm posting their posters.
Okay.
And they're in public space, right?
Yeah.
Why is this person photographing me and demanding to see my press badge? Because she's a professional protester as well.
Where did you learn the tactic of geotagging individuals? Did your organization teach you this?
No.
So you took my
That was so good. That was so good, by the way. Where did you learn geotagging?
Yeah.
picture in order to upload it to your database. What did you take my picture for? Is it coincidental that we do this at every single event?
And what do they have in common with Zohran Mamdani? They're all part of the same organization. Did you notice the rose emblem on the woman's shirt earlier? That's the logo of the Democrat Socialists of America, DSA, an organization that trains individuals on how to destabilize America and bring on a socialist revolution. Here's one of their prominent members in Atlanta telling me they cannot condemn Hamas.
Can you condemn Hamas? Can you condemn Hamas? How about you? Can this organization condemn Hamas?
What organization?
Your organization, can they condemn Hamas?
And just how organized are they? Watch this DSA member explain to me what his role is in the march.
I'm a marshal right now, so I can't.
What is marshal? What is a marshal?
Safety around the edges of the thing. So we're stopping traffic and making
wow.
sure
Good
we
stuff.
keep everybody safe.
Got it. Appreciate you.
I filmed them marching alongside the Party for Socialism and Liberation and the Revolutionary Communists of America. They frequently collaborate with the People's Forum in New York City, a hub for Marxists and socialists to meet and organize. Socialists like Mamdani, who's a proud member of the DSA. And the concern here? The proximity of some DSA-affiliated figures and allies to networks linked to recognized terrorist organizations. Take David Duwalde, for example. David Duwalde is the chair of the DSA Fund. Here he is organizing protests with DSA in New York City. He also serves on New York's campaign finance board, which oversees funding for mayor candidates like Mamdani. That means a top DSA operative has access to information that helps Mamdani, who's also a DSA member. His partner, Michelle, is a member of Semidon, a front group for the Popular Front of Liberation of Palestine, designated by the United States State Department as a foreign terrorist organization. And both Semidon and DSA are responsible for the latest pro-Iran, anti-ICE protests in New York City and Atlanta, Georgia. Here she is together with David at a socialist nightclub, and here they are protesting. So what are socialists doing aligning themselves together with Islamic fundamentalists? Why is this?
That's wild. that is freaking wild, dude. I mean, like that is.
And the more you dig, the crazier it gets, and the more people that you find that are constantly at these protests, the more you investigate them, the more you realize that they have crazy connections. Sometimes they don't have any connections, which is fine. They're just proud socialists. They want to, be part of a grassroots movement that becomes a nationwide movement that elects socialist candidates like Mamdani, that's fine. But realistically, that none of this would be so organized on a level where you're electing mayoral candidates in one of the largest cities. I don't know if it's the largest city. Is
Yeah.
New York City the largest? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So in the largest city, without the organized part of it. And when you look at the organizers, one, they're always paid, right? Because the money that they use from the collecting the member fees or dues or donations, whatever the case may be, they use that not just to organize, but to actually pay the organizers to do it. So there's an incentive behind it. But then when you look at the organizers, like in this case with David Dualdi, you realize that his girlfriend, or maybe ex-girlfriend at this point, is somebody that is on the streets in New York City on a daily basis promoting not something that is just criticism of America, involvement with Israel, or criticizing Israel's military operations in Gaza. That's one thing. That's okay. But spewing hatred against the West or inciting violence against not even Jews or Israelis, I'm talking about Americans, Republicans, anybody of support, even like center left Democrats. So when these people have this kind of ties to it, I always say to myself, well, that's sketch when you have socialists together working in combination with Islamic fundamentalists like this.
Yeah. No kidding. It's just, and it's all of, I mean, you've seen, and this is one of, I think I've seen, how many of these videos have you done? You've done a bunch, right? 3 or 4?
Yeah, I've done like 3 of these now.
Yeah.
The 2 other are probably some of my favorites because to me, it's one thing to have the socialist component behind it. That's one thing. Okay, that's their ideology. But when you have a foreign influence campaign that is a repetitive pattern across various countries, not just in the United States, that's more interesting for me. And that's the Code Pink, and that is the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'll let you.
Yeah, should I just run it? Because I mean, I love it. I just like one.
It speaks for itself.
Look, and I'm going to say this because I know a bunch of other producers watch my shit here, and you should be booked everywhere with this, and like there should be people paying attention to all of your work with this stuff. So, all right, here we go. Here's another. Again, all of this stuff, man, is so good. Here we go.
Lady in pink that I'm about to confront for taking money from an oligarch that lives in China.
You remember me from last time?
Yeah, tell me your name again.
My name is David. Was a big fan of yours.
Do they freak out when they see you?
This is the second time that I've confronted her. I confronted her like 6 months before this during inauguration, during Pete Hexet's confirmation, actually. So she was
in the Capitol then?
She was in the Senate building, where they were doing the confirmation hearing for Pete Hexet. And she was in the cafeteria, and I was with my business partner. We have a media company, Breakaway USA. So it's Fabian and I was like, Fabian, that is Medea Benjamin, the co-founder of Code Pink. We have to go confront her. And we did. It was funny. We did. I know. I said, I'm a big fan of yours. Can I do an interview? And she's like, of course, absolutely. and that was Fabian's idea, actually, because I was going to go straight in. So I was just, BSing for about a minute and a half. And then I went straight into the confrontation. So I thought it would be pretty funny to be like, remember me? I used to be a big fan of yours. This is the military parade day, by the way. This is right outside the entrance of the military parade. And she's so confused. She's like, where are all my comrades?
Oh, my God.
Until I realized you received so much funding from Roy Singham that I can't really support you.
For every new 100 followers, I'll expose a new organization. Her name is Medea Benjamin, a self-described Marxist feminist who recently launched a campaign, China is not our enemy. Here she is holding...
Holy shit.
What? Yeah, I mean, and then while you're watching this, I want you guys to think, why would they suddenly, a feminist organization, launch a campaign on behalf of the Chinese government? And not just that, but also change their tone, because they used to actually be very critical of the Chinese government.
By the way, Jim Bob in the comments now following David on X. Absolutely. Everybody should go follow you. Yeah, no, this is, dude, okay. Here, all of a sudden this feminist order. Wow, yeah, it was suddenly they hold on. Let's go back. That's so crazy.
Described Marxist feminist who recently launched a campaign, China is not our enemy. Here she is holding a sign that says China is not our enemy. Here she is doing it again and again. Now, why would Code Pink run a campaign on behalf of the Chinese government? The answer lies with its other co-founder, Jody Evans.
Your co-founder was married to him, Jody Evans. What's the deal there now?
You know, somebody can marry whoever they want. It doesn't mean anything. If you look at Code Pink.
So the
Doesn't mean anything who you marry. No.
Yeah, nothing at all, right? It's like, oh yeah, whatever.
Just common.
co-founder of Code Pink was married to the guy that speaks as CCP propaganda forms, and you guys are saying that has nothing to do with you?
Absolutely nothing to do with it.
In 2017, Jody Evans married Neval Roy Singham, an American tech millionaire and self-proclaimed socialist. That same year, Singham began funding Code Pink through a shell nonprofit called the People Support Foundation. Jody Evans later would become a board director of this foundation, which funneled money to the United Community Fund. This fund would then distribute resources to other organizations like Code Pink, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and the People's Forum.
What about the People's Forum? Don't you go and host a lot of events at the People's Forum, which receives $20 million from Roy Singham? How close are you to the Party for Socialism and Liberation? Another faction that receives a lot of money from Roy Singham.
After Evans married Singham, Code Pink's stance on China shifted dramatically, from criticizing human rights abuses to praising the country. And why the sudden change? The answer lies in the ideology behind the funding. After selling his tech company for $785 million, Singham moved to Shanghai, China, an unusual choice for retirement. There he's grown close to the Chinese Communist Party, attending and speaking at their propaganda forums and meeting with high-ranking CCP officials. But this isn't Singham's first controversy. In India, he was linked to NewsClick, a news site raided in 2021 for allegedly receiving $5 million from Singham to push pro-China stories. Emails reportedly show him coordinating with journalists and activists to amplify CCP narrative. Sounds familiar? It's the same pattern with Code Pink, and the operation seems consistent here. So discord in other countries while promoting the CCP's agenda.
Listen. No billionaire is going to go and retire and go to China ever. Like the government will take your money there. It's the last country you want to go to. So did you do any digging, like, and not to like dig too much farther into this, because I'm sure you've done a lot of research, but like, do they have something on the guy? Because that's what it sounds like to me.
No, I don't think so. At least I haven't uncovered it yet.
Yeah.
Yet is the key word. Sometimes they might. Could it be like an Epstein style, blackmailing operation? Yes, absolutely. I want to see like the evidence of it. But realistically, I think that this guy just truly has an evil agenda, right? That's mainly what happens, is that you have a lot of people who make a lot of money, either inherited or like this guy made a tech company and sold it for close to $1 billion, and then packed his bags and moved to China because I guess his whole entire life he was a proud Marxist. And he sees truly the best use of his money is to invest it into companies that will carry out the CCP's agenda. And it is destabilization. That is the main agenda of the Chinese Communist Party, is to destabilize Western civilizations. So whether it's the United States, like we're seeing with organizations like Code Pink, and Code Pink is just one organization. You have the People's Forum, which is literally a hub. I want you to imagine like a coffee shop, but it also is a hub for all of these Marxist organizations to meet and to organize and to recruit people and whatnot. But he really thinks that his best use of his money is to invest into these organizations so they can destabilize America or bring a socialist revolutions, which some of these, we'll watch the Party for Socialism and Liberation next. That's what they want to do. They want to bring a socialist revolution. And that is the best use of China's money, honestly. So it may not be him actually funding these companies. He may just be a puppet that is receiving the money from the party, and then it's just funneling it into these organizations so these organizations can do the bidding of the Chinese government in the United States or like in India. I mean, literally, what he was, basically they raided them. Okay, this is a crazy story.
Yeah.
He comes. That's my dog.
That's fine.
It's storming here. He's going crazy. Keeps walking around. He's knocking stuff down. So Singham gets in contact with this news agency in India, and he basically becomes one of the biggest funders of this news agency, giving them $5 million. Well, this agency suddenly starts to promote pro-Chinese narratives, like putting huge parts of India as Chinese territory, which is literally what the Chinese government does to the Indians in that area all the time. So this news agency starts to do that. They start to investigate it. They raid it, and they find the communications between the agency and Nival Roy Singham to essentially to propagate these narratives and to spread them across India. Why? In order to push a narrative that is a pro-Chinese narrative. He's doing the same exact thing here in America, and that's why I'm glad that the House launched an investigation into him and is going to
Yeah.
try and come down to it. I mean, like, hopefully, we interviewed Anna Paulina Luna after like this whole thing about Nival Roy Singham came up, and she said we want to actually have him come and testify. Well, the problem is that he lives in China, so he can
Conveniently out of the country at the moment. Hey, listen, when you talk about like pushing the propaganda and stuff like that, have you ever dug into the China Daily that was run? It was like the insert that was in the Washington Post and New York Times for a long time.
No, I have not actually.
Have you ever heard of it? I know you're kind of young.
No, I haven't.
All right, so hold on. So I'm gonna go over and just kind of show my little Google search right here. But it used to be every weekend. The Washington Post published a China Daily's China Watch inserts, but has since stopped, along with other major newspapers like the New York Times. These inserts were described as offering a generally informative but potentially biased view of world affairs through the Chinese Communist Party lens.
Of course.
Literally, they used to run the China Daily.
The problem that I have with everything related to China is that it's such an obvious influence campaign. But
Yes.
why is it so, like, why is the Chinese government allowed to own farmland? I understand the argument of agriculture. Okay, whatever. You want to buy some land in America? I'm against that, but whatever. If it's an agricultural reason, whatever. But why do it so close to our military bases? That's the
Mhm.
problem that I have.
It's
And
madness.
why allow it to happen? Shout out to DeSantis. Shout out to, I think, Governor Abbott for doing
Yeah.
some stuff regarding that. But why does the federal government in general allow us to do this? That's ridiculous.
It is. It absolutely is. But no, for the longest time, man, like I remember this every and tomorrow I have the Falun Gong executives on the show, which I'm very excited about. I don't know if you know what they are with Shenyang and stuff like that. And they were
Yeah.
they've been completely beaten down by the Chinese Communist Party and oppressed. But this is the Atlantic from 2011. I'm surprised they still have this up, where they they were talking about the China Daily being in the Washington Post.
It's such an it's so obvious, right? This is the plan for as long as, honestly, the
Arthur,
party has been around, is
hold
to
on.
infiltrate.
Real quick, hold on. This is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
China Daily. Again, this is what they put. This is what Washington Post and New York Times did. They have a Xi's moments little thing here in the corner. God, this is such Jesus Christ. This again is hold on. It didn't share the tab. This is part of China Daily. Like, come on now, man. Like they literally. So at least the New York Times and the Washington Post took money from these people to push this bullshit for
Yeah,
years. For years. So
I'm kind of curious, who do they take money from? And that may be what I'll go check out. So appreciate it, Tim, for the good
Yeah.
idea here.
yeah.
But this is so obvious, right? I mean, they've been wanting to do this for the longest, and they've been doing this for the longest, honestly, is infiltrate every aspect of American society.
Yeah.
Obviously, media is one of the biggest one, but look at the education system. Not too long ago, you had it was one student that was part of, where were they? It's the University of Michigan Medical Research Center. And she was one of the lead researchers at the medical center there. And her boyfriend was bringing in essentially what the I forgot what it was. I think DHS ruled it to be a bioweapon that he was smuggling into the United States. And then when I look at it, I see the University of Michigan is one of the largest recipient of Chinese government grants.
Yep.
So they've infiltrated every single bit of American society, whether it comes to the education, obviously media, as you can see that. Um, it's kind of scary. And then you see it with the politicians, obviously, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the biggest story, of course, always is the Eric Swalwell Fing Fing Bang Bang story, right? That's honestly a honeypot operation. That is the Chinese government trying to build leverage over politicians to essentially do the bidding of the Chinese government in America without ever having to actually, quote unquote, have kinetic war with us or whatever the case may be.
Well, the other side of it too wasn't Dianne Feinstein's driver for years a CCP spy.
There you go. Yeah,
I mean, it's over and over again.
it
Oh
is.
boy.
It is.
It's very interesting to me.
Hmm.
There's no AI. Hold on, because usually Google AI is on this stuff. Not to say that I only rely on Google. Shame on me. I put Dianne Feinstein's CCP spy, and an AI overview is not available for the search.
There you go.
AI has it.
Does it alone.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I remember coming across this story a couple of years back. Again, it just shows you that at the end of the day, they don't want to have direct war with us. When the
No.
Chinese government, or just in general, China depends so much on American demand that there's no reason for them to go to war with us, because that's like financial suicide for them. So, what is the alternative? Well, in terms of trying to become the world leader and to topple America in general, Western civilization, well, it's to have these influence campaigns, and it's to drive destabilization in America, and then it's to normalize that destabilization when it's here, and then you can start to do various things that you want to.
Have you ever looked into Ian Miles
Oops,
Chong?
I can't hear you anymore.
What?
Maybe it's on my end.
I think it's on your end. Can you just go ahead and reset? Just reset and see what happens. Uh-oh. It's probably the storm. I'll text him here. There we go. All right, so he'll be back in a second. While he's doing that, I will play another one of his really great videos. Oh, he's back very quickly. Do we have you? Can you hear me? I don't know. Uh-oh, not looking good. Well, while we're trying to figure that out, I'll play another one of his great videos. Here's David Cate. One of the... Oh, let's just double check. He's dropped out again. We'll see if we can get him back. Yeah, the CCP got him. CCP got him. I'm worried about that. Hopefully he'll be back in a second. Here's more evidence of paid protesters. I love his work, and I wanted to talk more about him with it. Hopefully we can have that conversation. But until then, here we go. More of David Cate's work.
Who's this woman in the red shirt coordinating with local Atlanta police at an anti-ICE protest that escalated into a riot with tear gas and riot police deployed? For every new 100 followers, I'll expose a new group. She's a professional paid protester. Let me show you how. Here she is at the International Workers' Day protest. Here she is again at a pro-Iran rally, at an anti-Trump demonstration, and leading a protest outside Atlanta's ICE field office. And she's never alone. Always accompanied by the same woman who I've nicknamed Crazy Babushka. Here they are together at multiple Atlanta protests.
I don't know how he doesn't go deaf doing this. Hold on, let's see if he's back in. Let's see if I got him back in here. Oh, come on. There we go. Can you hear me? David? No? Weird. Huh. Well, I think the CCP got him. I think that's what happened. Hey, something wrong. Yeah, and the CCP got him. All right, let's he's gonna try to reset, but we're gonna keep playing this.
So here's footage of me asking them what group are they affiliated with.
What does your shirt say?
It says Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'm an organizer with the PSL.
Okay. Liberation for what?
Liberation for all oppressed nations and all nations fighting against U.S. imperialism.
Their highly organized and coordinated efforts prompted me to investigate their funding. And what I uncovered is a scary foreign influence campaign. The Party for Socialism and Liberation distributes funds to its chapters across the country, including those in Atlanta and Los Angeles. These funds are used to pay protesters like the woman in the red shirt to organize and attend demonstrations. This is the same group that is behind the recent LA riots. Notice the red shirts in LA matching those I filmed in Atlanta? Their funding comes from a $20 million donation by a nonprofit run by Nival Roy Singham, whose wife serves as a board member of that nonprofit. It's simple. $20 million is funneled to the United Community Fund, which then funnels money to PSL. The leader of the PSL, Claudia de la Cruz, also holds a leadership role in the People's Forum, a New York City hub where organizations like the PSL meet and strategize. Between 2017 and 2022, Singham donated $20 million to the People's Forum. Singham, a self-described socialist, lives in China where he regularly meets with Chinese Communist Party officials and attends their events. And that is how these protesters can afford to protest every single day.
It's wild. Absolutely wild. It's become their job. That's what they're doing. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see if we got him. I think the weather might have got to him. He said it was a bad storm down there. So hopefully we can get it back. But no, again, I want to pull up his account here while we've got him out. David Cate, again, an incredible follow, incredible work. I believe his work has been shared by Elon as well. There we go. So make sure you guys are following him if you get a chance when you're watching this. David_Cate. And again, yeah, Elon shared one of his stories, which is wild.
I went undercover as a Democrat voter to a Tesla protest here in Atlanta, Georgia. I wanted to go undercover to better understand, first of all, why they're protesting, but also I wanted to find out, are they actually being paid to protest? I just wanted to investigate this claim of Elon Musk that they are literally paid protesters. So first of all, here's the demographic of the people at the protest. The majority of the people that I saw there were white boomers. And the boomers would sometimes even have their parents there with them. The women had really nice name brand bags and purses, and the husbands looked like they were just dragged out there. I'm telling you guys this because this doesn't fit the demographic of people who are paid to protest. And this also kind of debunks the left's claim that these are disenfranchised MAGA voters. All of these people voted for Kamala. But that doesn't mean that George Soros didn't fund this and didn't organize this with his money. So the people protesting may not be actually paid, but the people who organized the protest are, and I'm going to show you guys how. This right here is one of those paid organizers, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how she gets paid. Remember last year with the college encampments, how certain George Soros-tied organizations...
By the way, this is incredible work. And again, he shouted out somebody else to be kind, but he is one of the only guys out here doing this, and it's incredible, incredible work.
...received endless amount of money from George Soros so they can disperse it to organizers. And those organizers were getting paid upwards of $7,800 just to protest for 8 hours a week. Well, the exact same thing is happening here. Here are 5 radical leftist groups protesting Elon Musk, one of which received $7.6 million, none other than from George Soros. And one of those groups, known as Invisible Project, received that $7.6 million from George Soros to do exactly what you guys are seeing, to boycott and to protest anything related to President Trump. So it's very safe to say that the people protesting are probably not getting paid, but the organizers, they're getting a nice paycheck. So Elon, you're right in a sense. These people aren't paid protesters, but the people organizing this definitely are.
What's incredible, though, is that, again, you get these the paid organizers who go in and actually trick these other folks into going in for free while they're cashing in. It's incredible. What an incredible scam that's going on right now. And let's see if we got him back.
Yes, I'm back.
There you go. What happened?
I think I was, going too hard on the CCP government there.
That's what I'm telling you. Listen, I just did an anthology of all your work, basically, and I shared Elon's work of yours, where you were talking about how the organizers got paid, but the protesters didn't. Where do they go find these suckers? Is it like they go on Facebook and have like a Facebook group for boomers, or like how do they find these people?
The protesters or the organizers?
The protesters, because the organizers are paid, right? So
yeah.
And we just covered that in your last video with the Tesla protest. But do they just go on like local little forums and go like, "Hey, you hate Trump? Come help us out today."
It's all the Facebook moms, and you can see that the males there, except a few of them, obviously, but the males that are there with their with their wives, what seems to be their wives. I don't want to misgender them. They're just dragged out there. So my like theory behind it is that these moms just sit there so mad at Trump, just filled with Trump derangement syndrome on Facebook groups. And then they come across something like 5051, right? That's a very organized once a month protest that is kind of towards that, you know, elderly, liberal, progressive crowd. So they find that really appealing. They're like, oh, these are the local, moms and grandmas that care about the future and the climate. So come out and protest against Musk and drive your Tesla to the Tesla protest, which is hilarious. I encountered many of those individuals. But some of them are just you can tell they're just out there for every protest that happens twice a week, 3 times a week, as small or as big as it can be. They're out there. So they find them mostly through social media. That's how they mobilize it, right? They kind of trap them on these Facebook groups.
Yeah, no, it's like this is their little social club too. When you take a look at how old these people are, what are they doing? Nothing. Watching The Price is Right, watching The View.
Like what are this is 1 o'clock on a Saturday. What are they doing after this? They're taking care of the grandkids and,
Feeding the cats.
feeding the cats. Exactly. Like you guys don't have anything better to do on I think about this like my parents. Like, I came home after that protest, I remember, and I said, Mom, this is like if you were out there right now protesting. And I just can't picture my mom doing that, regardless of, if it like, whether Biden was in office. Like she's never done that.
Yeah.
So how crazy do you have to be? Like, how much do you think like I support protesting. That's good. Organizing is great. But it really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're not going to change anything. So
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, and they're literally out. The fact that they went to Tesla stores to harass employees that have nothing to do politically, they're just there, like just trying to work, trying to hustle some expensive electric cars. What's the point?
in deep blue Atlanta. I mean, like, I can't remember what I said in that video, but that's what's crazy to me. It's like when you're protesting Tesla. I live in Georgia, so these are Tesla protesters.
Yeah.
Our state pension, which majority of these idiots that are protesting depend on, comes from Tesla stock because our state invested into it, right? And the same thing is with Minnesota. That's why it was so funny when Tim Walz, the such successful VP candidate, said that he can't wait till it hits 200 or whatever the case is. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But the other thing is, like, who are you guys protesting? Like the deep blue Tesla regions? Like everybody that works in there probably voted for Kamala. Like you're not doing anything.
Literally, they're not doing anything. And they all, back in the day, they all loved those electric vehicles. They wanted them. And now all of a sudden, that was the thing. I just don't. They just get their marching orders and run with it. That's kind of the crazy, sad thing is that, there are, like you said, you exposed the kind of the more nefarious people and the people who are getting funded from the CCP and all these other organizations. And then, like, I just couldn't imagine, like you said, like, what is your mom doing on a Saturday at 1 o'clock? Like, what, like, or your grandma doing on a Saturday at 1 o'clock? Like, they're like just suckers. Like, what are you doing? You're not changing the world this way. I just feel like it's kind of like their little social club. They get together and think that they're going to do something, or maybe they're trying to relive their glory days when they were like hippies back in the day and they actually protested something that was kind of meaningful at some point.
Exactly, right? It's either nostalgia from back in the day, or it's absolute boredom, and or it's a delusion that you're 150 person protest outside of a Tesla dealership in Atlanta where 90% of the county already voted for Kamala is going to do anything. That's delusion. So you take your pick. I'm fine with either one of these.
By the way, I'm following back Nate Friedman. Somebody tagged him in the post. I did not follow him earlier because I'm a jerk. And I guess I should follow the nice lady who tagged him as well. That's in the post. Shauna Nana, I want to thank you for.
Yeah, he's done a great job exposing everything. Like I'm in Atlanta, so like it's not too organized here. I'm lucky when there's protests.
Yeah,
we've had one riot where there was tear gas deployed. I just so happened to be there. That was
that was fantastic. But he's in New York City, where they're very organized because of the People's Forum, and
They're close to it, right? They're close to the actual funding.
exactly, especially Semidon, like that organization, which is a front for literally an organization that is designated by the United States as a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
They're out there protesting with signs that say Semidon on them. So it's crazy.
It's absolutely insane. Do you get since they're taking photos of you regularly and they're following you around? Are you getting threats and stuff from these people? Is there a coordinated effort against you now?
Not yet, but the last protest that I went to is a pretty small march, but it was put up together by the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and they decided. Or sorry, I was there. I decided to go not undercover, like no, like nothing over my face or anything like that. And I wear glasses, so I can be pretty recognizable.
Yeah.
So one of their members right away recognized me and was like, "David, what are you doing here?" Blah blah blah, and like stormed up to me. And I'm a pretty chill dude, so when people confront me like that, I use that as an opportunity to like ridicule them or to be, pretty chill. So I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? What am I doing wrong?" And yeah, he kind of came back around and was like, "You know what? I'm just going to stick around next to you because you can't do anything if I'm right next to you." And I'm like, "Great." I'm like, "Fantastic. I can use this as an opportunity to talk about your organization. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?" And he's like, "I'm not here as part of any organization." And he literally in his hand is holding a bunch of flyers that have written on them "Party for Socialism and Liberation." So, these videos, I put them up and they do great. I mean, it just shows how ridiculous they are. And as much as they hate me, they love me because I've brought in so much. I've actually did this. I typed in "Party for Socialism and Liberation," and because I exposed them nonstop here in Atlanta, if you just look at Twitter, it's pretty much all of my videos. So it's almost like they love me, they hate me, but they kind of love me. I probably helped them recruit a couple comrades. I can't remember if it's that or if it's like Atlanta protests and it's just them nonstop, but something like that, and it's pretty funny.
Here's something interesting. Are people stealing your stuff? Are you finding that let's go down this road? Because you do such unique work, are you seeing a lot of conservatives and people stealing your shit for attention and for getting clicks?
Very minimal. I'll say this. I'm pretty surprised about this. So they take my videos, which I'm absolutely fine with, as long as they're like, like you did, right? You're like, "Great work by David. You tagged me. Amazing," right? Or like, I've started to obviously put my like little,
You need to Chiron, the whole thing.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
The majority of them, I found them to be very nice people. They want to work together because it's kind of nice. I'm the original content creator. They need content to repost always, right? And I'm specifically talking about like those accounts that just depend on other people's content.
Yeah.
They're like really nice, but they have found some to be like straight assholes. Let me be honest with you. Like some of them are just ridiculous at the end of the day. I'm like, you couldn't just tag me or something like straight stealing the content. It's like, well. But at the end of the day, exposure is exposure. But it'd be nice to get a little like.
I mean, it's one thing if it's a meme. It's another thing if it's a whole ass production for like 3 minutes, like where you actually have done like significant research and dug in and put yourself out there. Then they're like, "Oh yeah, look at this. Here we go."
And the best part is when they slap their tag on your video as if they made this video or something like that, like some really big accounts like to do on Twitter.
Has Benny done that to you yet?
Benny hasn't done that to me, but
Give it time.
Dom Lukery has done it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or whatever his last name is. But yeah, I've heard Benny's very notorious for that. And I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. Don't you think? Is like,
I don't know if I'm
crazy.
I don't know if I'm allowed to tell the story or not. I really don't care anymore. But I was an ambassador for Turning Point like 5 or 6 years ago, and within the first 3 weeks of being an ambassador, which they just send you some T-shirts and they invite you to shit. He took one of my videos that I had edited and worked on, and I emailed the people who ran the ambassador program and I said, "Hey, how does this work? Do I get a check for this now?" Or like, because he was like the chief creative there. I was like, "Do you guys cut me a check for the stuff he stole, or do you want to just cut me loose as an ambassador? You can pick." Because I was like, if I'm not going to be employed by you and I'm coming up with the content that you guys are pushing, then we're not gonna.
It's fair enough, right? At the end of the day, especially if you're gonna literally
That is so crazy. I couldn't imagine like taking your clip, Tim, and putting my name, David Cade, on it
A
and then
bold
putting
strategy.
it out to my audience to see, hoping that it goes viral too. That's the thing, is that they hope that this, right? Obviously, every single time they put this stuff out is that they hope it goes viral. So I'm like, so you're not even trying to hide this at the end of the day. You're it's
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Mhm. No, and the thing is, like, I have no problems with people. Again, like, it depends. Like, if it's a meme thing or if it's like an actual. If I put actual time into some shit, like, it pisses me off when people steal my stuff. But like when there's like, so I was the OG on. There are a few. I've actually more than a few. I was talking about this with a friend the other day that I was like the OG on like the either the concept for a meme or created the meme or the little video that's just kind of funny that I pushed out. And I
Mhm.
don't care what happens with it. Like the protester who got shot in the nuts with a pepper ball when the with Celine Dion over top of it.
Yeah.
Like that was me.
That was you?
It's been shared billions. Like I don't even like billions of views. I don't even know because it's like the like preeminent. I was in the Daily Caller office when I came up with it, but I don't care. Like I don't care about that. I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
And then like it's just like, oh yeah, that was like a thing that I like. I'm getting an Amber Alert.
Oh.
I think that's hold on. It's a public safety alert. No, blue alert. Oh shit.
Is that a blue person that's missing?
It is a suspect is Benjamin Song, wanted for involvement in serious injury of a law enforcement officer. Song is a 32-year-old Asian
Oh,
man, last seen in Alvarado, Texas. Call the FBI tip line for information.
wow.
Or 911.
Wow.
So if you see an
That'd be
Asian guy, ask him if his name is Benjamin Song and then call them.
an interesting name for an Asian guy, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
That's great. Did you know, by the way, that in California, just to make sure to be have as much equality as possible, they have ebony alerts. So when black people go missing, they shoot out ebony alerts. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
There's so many
Um,
racist jokes that just immediately.
I know, right? It's hard.
You ever have one of those on like a Carnival cruise or a Spirit Airlines?
Yeah, I,
And
I want to get one.
that's
I want
the
to get one
farthest
next
you'll go.
time I'm in waiting at the gate at the Spirit Airlines.
You're on that opening dance number on the Carnival cruise and you get an ebony alert and you're like, fuck. Well,
Well, start looking for. That's funny.
yeah, no, I did that. I had no idea that was a thing. I had no idea that was a thing. That's the first time I've ever gotten a blue alert. That's crazy.
That's the ebony alert. When you said blue alert, made me think it's blue people. I don't know.
The Blue
So,
Man Group. They're looking for the Blue Man Group.
Blue Man Group. That's
No, so down the street from me here in Grapevine, Texas, there's a memorial up for the state. Is it the state troopers that Bonnie and Clyde killed that turned the tide on them? Because they knew that they were like notorious like bank robbers and stuff like that. But once they like murdered like police in Texas, that was the time was up for them.
yeah.
And it literally happened like a mile down the road. There's a big marker there, and the
Oh.
gas station for them was down the street from me. Not that you need to know or care, but I live in like Bonnie and Clyde town here in Grapevine, Texas. But dude, that's man. Let's go back to the other topic here, like stealing. So stealing stuff, like just don't steal stuff from people. But it's going to happen. By the way, I know you had Dom Luker. Did he take your stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I think he's done it like 4 or 5 times now. But my thing is this: is like, I don't even care if you take my stuff and don't give me credit. What should people, piss people off is when they slap their name on
Yeah.
it. Like that's ridiculous already. That's to a level that's unimaginable. And I'm not sitting here to try and complain or anything like that. Again, I really don't care if you do that, but that's kind of ridiculous. How's your whole platform built on slapping your name over people's videos? That's pretty ridiculous. I am
Yeah.
taking shots at you, Dom.
There's a weird it's a weird lack of copyright, right? When with like original creator content, it's just a really weird lack of copyright that's involved in that. And then they'll probably claim that it's fair use because they put a commentary on top of it. They're like, watch this video or something like that. This is really good, whatever. And then
But they don't even do that. That's the craziest thing about that. If they were like, this is one of the best videos I've seen this week, boom, and it plays, and you want to put your tag on that because you said that, like Benny Johnson does, I think. Okay, whatever. But the just taking it and then like my mom tells me this because she's she watches a lot of the Ukraine and Russia stuff, and she'll be like, "Why are these people just taking like war clips and putting their tags on there?" And I was like, "Yep,
Yep.
yeah, it's happened across everywhere."
Dude, the thing that really got to me, and I've talked about it all week just because it's fresh in my mind, is the people taking clips of like the flood stuff and like pictures of the little girls and stuff and trying to get the clicks off of that, like the poor little girls that died and whatever from Texas here. And I'm like, man, brother, like there's like, that's where we start to talk about special place in hell for that. Like, I can't imagine trying to monetize a tragedy like that.
That's the craziest thing, and unfortunately, you see a lot of people do that in this social media ecosystem. Honestly, people do it all over the place, and it's very unfortunate. It's disgusting when Democrats politicize it, and it's disgusting when content creators or people with accounts, large accounts, whatever it is, you use that to try and drive clicks, views, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Let's do this, and then I'll let you get out of here because it's been a fantastic hour hanging out with you. Even with the snafu with the audio there, I got to just continue on my anthology of your work. Guys, if you get a chance, you want to go follow David Cade. He likes bananas in America at the same time.
Banana Republic.
I love that, by the way. I would put that up on the wall. Go follow him. He is fantastic. His work is fantastic. What he's done over there, he's been acknowledged, obviously, by Elon and everybody else with all of his hard work, and especially Don Luker loves his stuff. If you don't go to David's own handle, you can go over to Dom's and see his work probably once a week, once there's a release.
Yep. And you can think for yourself, is this Dom's work or is this David doing the work?
It's a toss up. Depends on who's in the video. You never know. You might be him. Who knows? Who knows?
Right.
Dude, thank you so much. I hope everybody goes and follows you. And I hope the producers who watch the show for other shows pick you up and use your work. It's fantastic. And like I said, really glad that I met you at the Heritage Foundation, the little social media roundtable thing that we were at. You're one of the better people, and I should have that'll teach me a lesson to go walk across the aisle and talk to people that are in the exact same room from me, nearly 15 feet from me.
Ditto. I appreciate it. Tim, I really had a great time. Honestly, this is always one of the funnest conversations. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for
no problem. Are you you want me to get you in trouble now? You want to get somebody in trouble?
Sure. Let's do
You
it.
gonna be at Joy's wedding?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm gonna be down in Tampa.
Oh.
Sorry, Joy's wedding. I don't know, actually. Sorry.
Are you not?
I didn't get an invite.
Invited?
I didn't get an invite, Joy. So what's going on here? No, I'm kidding. I know that there's a Turning Point event this weekend, and I thought that she was gonna be there this weekend, but she's not because she has some other stuff related to her wedding, but that's why there's a switch up related.
I know she's doing flowers in DC this week. She's going to visit the florist in DC this week. That's one of the things she's hanging out with. Tiny baby Nugget, my assistant, is going to be. They're splitting a room. I'm letting her crash with her to come hang out. And yeah, that's awesome. Well, I got to go pay some more bills here and do some more ads. I won't make you stick around for that. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you so much, Tim. Have a good night.
See ya. Bye. All right, let's do some bill paying, shall we? Now that the audio is working perfectly, here we go.
Our nation is standing up for American workers, restoring the pride of making products here at home. That's what we do every day. We're America's beverage companies, making American products with American workers in America's hometowns, delivering brands that have been enjoyed for generations, creating good-paying jobs, the kind that require only a strong work ethic. Because we believe in the promise of America and the people who make it great.
Want to thank the American Beverage Association again for sponsoring the show. And also go over to Kalshi.com/Tim Young. Love Kalshi. How high will Bitcoin get this month? Well, right now it looks like 120,000 or more. But you could probably throw a couple of bucks in here and make some extra money, even if Bitcoin doesn't get that high. You never know. Kalshi is so much fun, and I like to play around in the markets. Here we go. Who will Trump talk to before August? Here's another one you can get in here. Will it be Zelensky? Will it be Putin? Will it be Xi Jinping? Will it be Elon Musk? Who's he talking to before August? And again, there are always little things. If the president and Vladimir Putin speak starting July 8th, 2025, and before August 1st, 2025, then the market resolves. Yes, that's kind of how it works here. If he talks to somebody between July 8th and August 1st, so yesterday and August 1st, if he talks to one of these people, you can win a little bit. So make sure you're playing around with these markets responsibly. But at the same time, you know, it is the most fun and most accurate, predictable thing in politics. So if you want to see what's happening, or you want to take a guess at what may be happening or shifting in politics, go over to kalshi.com, kalshi.com/Tim Young, and you can see what's going on. And we'll take a look one more time at the markets over here. Here you go. Next U.S. presidential election. I like this one. I tell you what, I like this one. Next U.S. presidential election winner, J.D. Vance. They are currently predicting J.D. Vance is going to be the next U.S. presidential election winner. I like that. I will buy that for $1. AOC has 8%. I don't know who the fuck's button on her. And one more before we get out of here. I want to thank our friends over at Ezra Zion Cigars. We got the box right here. Ezra Zion Cigars. When I want a good cigar, I go to Ezra Zion. Not only this, I will go to their website here momentarily while I put this back. That is their flagship product. But if you go over to their limited edition products, which I bet, I tell you what, last night, I wonder how many are left. You go over to, let's pull up the website here. The Ezra Zion store. I can't believe there's any left. Bee's Knees Stolen Honey, a fantastic stick that I smoked actually yesterday. You go down here. We spent 4 obsessive years relentlessly blending, testing, chasing perfection, and finally this blend, the one that makes us stop, stare, and say, damn, we got it. They only put 640 sticks. This is actually a very large production for them, 640 sticks of this. And I wonder how many they have left. I doubt it's many. Again, incredible cigars from Ezra Zion Cigars and Nomad. And you can go over there right now. Don't forget, also, they have a cigar and coffee of the month club. You can get in and get a variety of cigars. You can get the America stick in there and another Ezra Zion house cigar there and a couple of their other flagship products. You can really get a hell of a variety of cigars. What is this? The blending set. I never even look into this. The blending sessions. What are these guys? If you ever wanted to know what we smoke in our off time, now you know. We smoke samples from the hundreds of blends we've created over the years. In fact, if you came over to a barbecue, these are what we'd smoke all day. I know that because the master tobacconist over at Ezra Zion, fella named Kyle, he comes over, and this is what we smoke when he comes over to the house. So if you want to smoke what I smoke, you can go there and get those as well. Go to Ezra Zion Cigars, Google it, and get yourself some nice sticks. That being said, I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. It's been a great show. And tomorrow night, we'll be back with representatives from the Falun Gong. I am so excited to talk with them about freedom and the oppression that their folks have been through in the CCP. And probably a little talk about Shenyang. We'll have a little talk about Shenyang. A little talk about Shenyang. Be an exciting show tomorrow night. I want to thank David Cade for being here. And thank all of you guys for being here tonight as well. I will see you tomorrow. Next week, we're going to be in D.C. doing some really, really cool stuff on premises at the Capitol. I think you're going to like it. Also, shout out to a Tiny Baby Nugget. I am wearing the same hoodie that I've worn all week. So that to you. When you have an assistant in your house that sees you every day, she does realize that you wear the exact same clothes every day of the week.